do it.
Yeah,
Chad Kroeger, thanks for doing the podcast.
Dude, thanks for having me on. Stoked to be here.
I'm stoked that you're here. I think I did the most stoked cup I could find, Big Kahuna.
Big Kahuna burger.
Yeah, so it feels pretty stoked.
Yeah, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Great line. It's hard to do research about you because the first thing that comes up when I Google Chad Kroeger
It's Nickelback.
is Nickelback.
Yeah.
Did
My
you
hero.
Is it your hero?
Yeah.
Because that plaque behind you is from when I worked with Chad Kroeger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You worked with him?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
probably told me that. But, oh, wow. That's cool, man.
Yeah, he's actually a great guy, just like yourself.
I thank you, man. Yeah, I've heard that. I heard they have a good sense of humor, and they're just great guys, nice guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were just like, they really took care of us. I mean, this is early 2000s when like the music business was still like selling CDs strong and the
Yeah.
big budgets and stuff. But
Yeah.
I have to say, very talented guys too. I know they
Right.
get like, they're the butt of all music jokes, but
Yeah.
I'm here to defend Nickelback.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, I'm well, I think there's a reason they sell out stadiums.
Yeah, have you seen
they're
it?
so
There's
popular.
like pyro and it's like a big production. It's,
Yeah. And I love listening to their music too. I mean, I'll throw on Photograph, Rockstar
Oh, Photograph.
if I'm driving any day of the week.
Yeah, the guy, you know, when he puts the photograph up that became a meme,
Mm-hmm.
the guy in the photo's name's Joey Moy, and he was like the head engineer on the Nickelback records.
Really?
So it's like a real dude.
Yeah.
When I saw the video, I
Yeah.
worked with them before that.
Uh-huh.
When I saw the video, I saw the photo. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Did you work with them before or after How You Remind Me?
Right after How You Remind Me.
Oh, that's huge.
So like just the train was at full speed.
Yeah.
And so I worked on the one that was on Spider-Man for the hero.
Yes.
And then
Great
there's,
song.
excuse me, the one on Saturday Night for Fighting, which was a cover of Elton John song for the Charlie's Angels.
Mm.
And then Theory of a Dead Man, which was like their side project.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, one song I found of theirs, of just Chad Kroeger's, was Why Don't You and I, with him and Santana. Have you heard that?
Mm-mm.
It's great. I was going through a breakup, and I was feeling a little sad, and I threw on Why Don't You and I was driving down to Orange County, threw on Why Don't You and I, and it actually lifted me out of my
Out of your-
malaise.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when you picked that name for your artistic name, was that part of it? Did you know, or was it just an accident? Like, how did that all come to be?
Yeah, I guess it's an homage.
It's an homage?
It's an homage.
So it was conscious.
Yeah, I didn't really intend for it to be my full name, but that's kind of just how it happened. Yeah.
Did it start off as Chad and then
Yeah.
you added the Kroeger?
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is a fun homage, but then it became a thing, and I'm like, well, the train has left the station, so.
Because if I want to find you, I have to search Chad Goes Deep or Chad and
Right.
JT to get
Right.
like the picture of who you are, just beyond the whole.
Yeah.
But you have so much really cool, impressive stuff that's taken off, like especially during
thank you.
quarantine. Like that video you did
Uh-huh.
about Hermosa Beach,
The masks.
the masks,
Yeah.
was so funny
Oh,
and
thank
so
you.
dead on.
Oh, thank you, man.
And the way it went viral and it led to
Yeah.
like the Howard Stern thing was so
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Howard's been so cool to us.
Has he had you on before that as well?
Yeah, that was our second time on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he found our city council speeches, and he's he's been really supportive of us. So the first time we went in the studio, which was awesome, because I've been a fan of Howard's for like 10 years. I got a Ford Escape in 2009, and it came with Sirius, and the Stern Show was on there, so I started listening then, and I was a fan of his ever since then. And it was very surreal going into the studio, because it was sort of like a magic carpet ride, because they're like, all right, you're on, and it's like live. You know, my brother was there. I was like super nervous, and they shuttle us in, and we walk in. It was I swear it was like a magic carpet ride, kind of like a roller coaster. Like it's all purple and rock and roll, and he's just like sitting there in his like iconic voice, and you're just like, oh my god. But his charisma is so magnetic.
Yeah.
Or just
Is he a rock star? Like has that energy like that?
Yeah.
He's a star.
Well, you can tell he's just like he the way he looks at you, he makes you feel very comfortable. And
Like what I'm doing right now.
Exactly. Yeah. and then you know how people always like open up way more than they should on his show. I could feel that, you know.
Right.
You just feel like, oh, I can say anything here. You like, it didn't feel like they were tons of listeners. You know what I mean?
Do you feel that like that's a studio design thing? How he asks questions? Both?
I think both. Yeah. I think just I think it's a combination. I think a lot of it is how vulnerable he is. You know, he's just kind of like, he's so honest with his audience that I think I think that adds a layer of comfortability for the
How can
guests.
you be phony when he's being so honest?
Yeah, and I think just the nature of the show. I don't know. It's just he's just very welcoming.
I'm a big fan too, and I recently got Sirius again to go back and listen. Yeah, because I was missing it. It's like one of the best interview shows, and Sirius is actually pretty great too. Like it's nice to throw on a station sometime, and not be like your playlist that's always on shuffle. Right. Like, I have some new stuff that I'm not like programming actively in. Yeah. Like I just got a vinyl player too, and like that's nice too. It's like this one disc is gonna end, and that's what I'm listening to. It's just so nice to escape the digital domain, which is unlimited. Like it's too much sometimes. Yeah. For our little human brains. Totally. Yeah, it's nice. I need to get back into Sirius. Yeah, because I've been too in control of my Spotify. Yeah. Sometimes I need to just let it ride. Let it ride. Try on like the 90s channel. Yeah, the 90s is the great. Yeah, exactly. So when you have a viral video like that, how do you like, what's the business model that you guys have behind that? In terms of like, have you built a business model around creating videos that go viral? Because it seems like you have in some sense. That's interesting, actually. You know, I've found that when we try to go viral, it usually doesn't happen. When we have like the intention of like, we want this video to go viral and be huge, it usually doesn't work out that way. It just kind of goes medium. Yeah, and I've kind of learned that virality is the internet is so unpredictable. And a lot of times it's sort of like you're capturing like a moment in time and sort of the zeitgeist. That's like it's sort of a magical kind of formula. Like at that time, lightning in a bottle. Yeah, it was like the masks were a huge thing. There were like the freedom rallies, and it was like it was around the time when like masks were starting to like become like. You know, you were just seeing them everywhere, and then people were starting to resist. So a shift in the culture. A shift, yeah. So, but we were just, making a video. And we didn't really think about that too much. And so I've tried to apply that of just like having fun, or just trying to let the videos be more kind of inspired, because I feel like that's a better formula than, although it makes it more difficult to have consistency. Right. But I found that when you're trying so hard for the result, that for internet videos, it doesn't really. It's a little self-defeating. Yeah. Because I think the audience can feel that you're trying a little bit too hard. Yeah. Or it's like if you have like a viral video, you try to like copy that formula, and it's or someone else's formula. Exactly. Yeah. And it just gets a little tired. Yeah. So it's it's an interesting kind of. But on the flip side, you're not doing them to not do well. Exactly. Right. So you want them to do well. Exactly. It's just you can't be like, this is the one. Yeah. That's gonna go viral. Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's just you gotta do things that you think are fun and funny and that you kind of feel like, okay, this is something I really want to make, as opposed to like, this is something that I think the audience wants to see. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah, because then it's like, it's kind of like being doing music. Yeah. And it's like, are you making the music that you think your fans want to hear, or are you being true to yourself and letting the fans follow you? Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because then you see some artists get stuck into a pattern and like, all right, I can't deviate too much from this one thing because that's what I'm known for. Yeah. And then you see the artists that reinvent themselves all the time, and they usually have a more robust career, right, of different things happening. That's a bit more exciting. Totally. Yeah. Let me take you on the journey instead of like you tell me what I think, because then you're in that weird like, when you look in a mirror for infinite times, you're kind of in that. You're like, I can't get out of it. Right. Yeah. And it's like and
And that takes so much more courage too to reinvent yourself, because it's like the tried and true formula is like your comfort zone. It's like so easy to go back there, and
it can be where your money is, where your comfort level.
Yeah. But it's I think it's worth the risk though.
Yeah. So assuming when you go down that road of creating these videos with the intention of them doing well, but staying honest to yourself.
Yeah.
And then you have some sort of release schedule or, goals for how many you'd like to release.
Yeah.
And then assuming they all do to your expectations, what's the business you add on top of that? Is it stand-up? Is it podcast? Is it a whole bunch of different things?
Yeah, I guess we sort of, I guess the way JT and I have sort of assembled it is we had some videos do well early on, and then we're like, oh, and we started out in stand-up, and then we had some videos do well, and then we were just like, oh, maybe we'll do a podcast, and then it's sort of, it built itself naturally. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that premeditated, but then once sort of all the pieces were in place, we're like, we had a successful video, we're like, oh, we can parlay this into more listeners for the podcast, or we can, use this, like these extra followers to have more people come to stand-up shows. And so it all sort of feeds into each other. Right. I'd say the videos are sort of the primary source of growth.
So in a way, you're building an audience for all these different media, the podcast, the viral videos, you doing stand-up on the road, it's all just building the audience for you guys.
Yeah.
And one thing I think is very cool is that you guys are you.
Yeah.
I can look at a video of you, I can watch you guys do stand-up.
Yeah.
And it's always, listen to your podcast, and you guys are yourself in all those mediums, which that's hard to achieve. And
thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. I thank you. Yeah. It's, I know. Yeah. It's just been, it's been super fun. Yeah, and I think
and when you see the comments, I'm sure do you read your comments, or you just kind of like
I do, yeah. I try not to, but I'm
super healthy.
I'm a human being. So.
Exactly. So I was reading some of them, and the ones that stuck with me were like, oh, like I know dudes like this, and it's great to see them like on TV or make it. It's like I feel everyone has other friends that they feel like are kind of similar to you guys, or in the same vibe or same energy. And so you have a relatability that seems to be constantly growing your fan base, because people are like, I know a guy like that, and I like him.
Yeah. And a lot of it came from just experimentation. Like, when I first started doing stand-up, I was sort of, I tried to portray a sort of more vulnerable kind of version of myself that was kind of like a little bit more kind of introspective, but I could feel that the audience just wasn't vibing with it. And so it's sort of a lot of like, with like stand up and stuff, it's like sort of seeing what the audience responds to and sort of analyzing like, okay, like how do I look to people? How do I appear to people? Like when people see me, when they, see me on stage, what's sort of their first impression, and how can I play with that? Because I think when I first started doing stand up, they're like, I was like, oh, I went to therapy, but I was like, but then I realized, I'm like, people look at me on stage and like, why are you in therapy? And I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And they don't want to hear me complain. Yeah. Because they're like, you look like you just went surfing all day. I'm like, I did. That's true. Yeah. So, and then with the podcast too, it's like we started to hear from people that they're like, yeah, it just feels like I'm hanging out with my buddies, or like, it's like a relaxing way to just hang out. And we're like, okay, like, and so you sort of, use that to keep pushing you forward, and to sort of understand your persona.
It's important because like likability is a big factor of what makes people survive in the business.
Yeah.
And just to have that, and also couple it with, you let the audience kind of teach you what they thought was funny about you. Yeah. Which some famous comedians had that great line. It's like, the audience is going to tell you what's funny about you over time if you listen. Right.
Totally. Yeah. And that's why I think, if you like try to premeditate all of that, it's like you got to kind of just, I mean, it's important to like write and like sort of try and experiment with stuff, but you got to be open to what the audience is sort of giving you in terms of feedback.
Yeah, like I work clean, and I've had times when I've worked to swear too, like, and I swear in my own life. I'm not like that guy. Yeah. But when I do it, like the audience is like, we don't want that from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're like a sweet guy and they can feel that. Yeah.
And I do a lot of kid material, a lot of family material. And they're like, you can't, no, we're like, we're not having that.
Yeah. Yeah. I find if I do like material that's too mean, they'll like kind of be like, you know, taking it back a little bit, or like analyze it too. If it's like a heavily bro-y audience, you know, I'll do more jokes about dongs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just more dong talk.
Dong talk is a great name for a podcast.
Yeah. Dong talk. Dude, that should be the name of our podcast. Just
renamed as of tomorrow.
Yeah. People like, I remember one time someone told me, they're like, I was looking through your podcast Instagram and like 5 out of the last 7 clips are you talking about dongs. I'm like, oh fuck, you're right.
Dong clip 1, dong clip 2.
Yeah.
With the pod, you guys have had that great association with ATC. Mm-hmm. Did that start from the beginning, or is that something that came on during the growth of the podcast?
That came on, you know, about a year into the podcast. So. Yeah, and they're the best. They're just nicest guys, and just great to be working with. Yeah.
What's the difference you find working with by yourself versus with All Things Comedy, which is ATC? Yeah, like a podcast network.
Well, they just provide all the things, you know, they provide a studio for us and audio engineer, and they help with like ads and stuff like that. Just that kind of support, that foundation. Yeah. The kind of the infrastructure, if that's the right word for it.
Yeah.
For the podcasts that you don't have to really think about. You know, you can just do the podcast and post it, and then they sort of handle.
Do they do the clips and stuff?
No, we have a guy do that who just this guy Jack, who was in college and just reached out, and he's like, hey, I want to do like a podcast Instagram for you. And we're like, okay. And he just started doing it, and he's been doing it ever since.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He's a good kid. Yeah.
That's where you find good talent, when people are like, I like what you're doing. Can I help be of service?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which back in the day, entertainment business would be like, they'd show up at the recording studio and be like, can I like clean the toilets or like make the coffee? And we're like, all right, come in.
Yeah.
And that's gone away and been replaced with, can I do your socials? Or
really?
Can I? Yeah. Because like studios have closed and the in-person thing is kind of going away for a lot of what we do.
Right.
It's like, you guys are doing a lot of stuff, but there's no like, I'm going to show up at Chad and JT's office and like bang on the door. Yeah. Your office is your Instagram.
Interesting.
They're going to DM you and figure out.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's cool. So you work in the music industry. Were you working in like, remind me what you do in the industry?
So I started doing like engineering, mixing, songwriting, producing, like all the studio stuff. Yeah. And then I moved to the executive side.
Cool.
And then, throughout my life, people was like, oh, you should do comedy. And I didn't understand it was a real thing. I just see semi-homeless people on stage. And I'm like, because I used to live in New York. I was around it a lot. Yeah. And I was even the coat check guy at the Comedy Cellar New Year's party one year.
Oh, cool.
And I was just like, I didn't understand what it was. And I was so heavily into music. Mm-hmm. And then I did an open mic here in LA one time. And I was like, oh, I think I could do this. This is great. I feel like I got it. I learned a lot of the editing during songwriting. It's like you take out words, you just keep rewriting and rewriting. Yeah. And so I felt like I started with a little bit of a foundation. Mm-hmm. And now I'm kind of all the way in, and I love it.
What was the first open mic?
The Flappers one with the blender bar.
The bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That was a good mic. The one at the bar.
Bar. I think they call it blender mic or something.
Yeah. I remember that was one of the few mics that had like, it would have a responsive audience. It was only 3 minutes.
It gave me enough response for, like when you're new and no one knows you, they're like, your material's new and they don't hate you instantly, like at all the other open mics. Yeah. But it felt like a show-ish.
Yeah.
I was eating a chocolate chip cookie and they called my name. I'm like, here we go. And I think I had like one of the 3 jokes worked really well, but that was enough. And I was like,
you get that one laugh and you're on it.
Yeah. Like the first one I had, like that was like the most crafted worked. And I was like, okay, that's enough.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I got that first laugh and you're just hooked.
Yeah. And it does complement. I think nowadays people are more comfortable with us doing a lot of different things. So we don't have to be this one thing. It's like you can podcast, you can do this, you could go act, you could release an album of like Stoke tunes and people would be into it. It's like they're ready to consume as much as you're willing to put out.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And were you nervous your first mic?
Yeah, I was nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like you weren't that nervous. The way you describe it.
I wasn't. But again, like I was in music. I wasn't on stage, but I had been on stage as like the sound guy or the DJ. So I wasn't super nervous, but I was definitely had nerves of doing it.
Right. Yeah, totally.
And I wasn't super comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
But I did it and it happened.
That's cool.
But I was comfortable with like using a mic and like all those things, which you think it's natural, but it takes a second to be like, how far should it be? Like, all those things.
I remember like the thought of moving the mic stand was terrifying.
Yeah, like taking it out.
You take it out and you're like, what do I do with this?
Even nowadays, when you fumble it with it, it's like instant amateur. You're like, oh fuck, you flub it, or it gets someone else like wrapped it around, and you have to like unwrap it.
Yeah.
It's just so embarrassing.
Yeah. You gotta spin it around.
Yeah. That's but your socials are very strong. You have a lot of followers.
Yeah.
And you always meet people, and I'm sure you do, or you hear people talk. It's like, if I only had this many followers, my life would be different, or I would be achieving these things.
Right.
Now, as someone who has those followers, do you feel that those statements are true, or is it not true?
Yes and no. I think it definitely opens up a lot more opportunities and gets you sort of noticed and gives you it gives you the chance to sort of build your own kind of pirate ship.
Pirate radio.
Yeah. But I think that the one thing too is that you're always kind of wanting more, you know. And I try to. It's sort of like you'll have those thoughts of like, oh, if I need to get like 100,000 followers. Then you like get there, and then you're like, okay, now I need 200. You know,
it's never enough.
Yeah, it's never enough. But it does sort of give you that sort of sense of independence of like, or it gives you momentum, I think, to just keep going and gets you on the path to sort of building the career.
Yeah. It is in a way like a virtual business card, because we're gonna look you up. You're like, all right, oh, he's verified and has like 250,000 ish followers.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we can't help our brains from being like, oh,
yeah.
All right.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
All right. I'll take the meeting, or I'll like, like, or you reach out to someone and like, they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Hard to believe, but maybe it happens.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you want to do the zanies and wherever. And they're like, oh yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. There's an instant like credibility factor.
Yeah. They're like, oh, verified. Nice.
Yeah. Even verified is a big deal.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I regret so much, is when I was like way more into music, they were just verifying people.
Right.
Like, I had access to the people who just did it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care about Instagram. Right. And I could have just been verified.
Yeah. It does. Like when you see it, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
When you see it for the first time, it's sort of like, or if you get a message from someone with like a verified thing, you just sort of, it like pops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, I'm gonna read this.
Right. That's why I'm sure a lot of celebrity DMs always work.
Yeah, totally.
You know, even like, because you run a show, if a out of town comic reaches out and they're verified, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, you might give them a bit more attention. Of a look-see.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then when you reach out to clubs, does your following allow you to sell clubs in different cities? Like, how do you know where your followers are?
There are like analytics on Instagram. So I think if you turn to like a business profile, you can see the percentage of like, you've got, 25% LA, 25 in New York.
Yeah.
10% in Chicago. So you can see where the majority are from. But we haven't really gone on like a national kind of tour yet. But I can see from the analytics of be like, oh, we got in New York, I think we could do well. Like North Carolina for some reason.
Oh, I tried to
Did you get
Obama it?
No. Wherever. So it definitely helps.
Yeah. So you're using like, on the business profile, you see all these city breakdowns, and that seems to be pretty accurate.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then So what does that mean for your goals going forward? Is it to increase stand-up more? Do you have goals set up for the next year?
Yeah, I think we kind of just want to do everything.
You heard it here first. He wants to do everything.
Yeah. More podcasting, more stand-up, more acting. I think, just building or following more. Just kind of every kind of, we kind of want to just keep sort of dipping our hands into everything a little bit.
Yeah.
Just keep it growing. Yeah.
That's kind of reassuring to hear, because I'm sure people at all different levels, in some ways, are doing the same thing.
Right.
It's like whether they're 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, it's like, I want to keep growing.
Yeah.
I want to keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And you just want to keep kind of adding wood to that fire.
Yeah.
Until it's growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
Either it's growing or it's shrinking. So which one do you want to be in?
Right. Totally. Yeah. And it's sort of like, I like learning new things, and I like challenges. So, I definitely want to try different acting stuff, and, different kinds of writing and sort of creating new formats or shows or whatever. So that's kind of,
and that's like acting on TV and films.
Yeah. I'd like to do that.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I was watching some of your clips on Ellen.
Yeah.
And, do you guys ever laugh and break character? Cause I haven't seen it. Like you guys stay in the moment and like don't break. And I see the other people breaking, and I'm like, that's pretty impressive.
Well, we take our activism very seriously. So, we try to keep it, very serious and genuine for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when my favorite one is watching Ellen, because she's just like in disbelief of like what's happening. Yeah. And you guys are just doubling down on every statement and on the vibe. And it was so funny.
Oh, well, we were just stoked for her to shine a light on our activism and to promote our causes. So.
And when she rolled out those motorcycles, or like the
scooters, still have them.
You still have them?
I ride mine to Ralph's every Sunday.
Yeah. Do you lock it up? You must have to lock it up.
No, I trust the people in my neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, they know.
There he is.
They know it's my scoot. Yeah.
They know better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I live in like a kind of little residential area, so I'm like.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, dude, good point. So I just maybe no one knows it's my scoot, but I just trust that it does say Chad on it. So I think. I think if they roll up to it and they see Chad, I think they'll think twice. So,
yeah. You're not in Playa, are you?
No.
Okay. Because those communities, I get it. They're like boxed in.
Yeah.
Have you seen them?
Yeah. Like
they're insane.
Like LMU and stuff.
Yeah. It's like there's like little box communities of it's got its own sushi place, its own restaurant, its own.
I go to the movie theater, the Cinemark.
Yeah.
Playa is it Playa Vista? I think it's Playa Vista.
Playa something. Yeah.
It's a great theater. Yeah.
That's what's weird about LA is like I probably haven't been there in like a year.
Yeah.
There's all these like little towns that are strung together that you don't visit.
Yeah. There's my favorite part is like the South Bay, like Manhattan Beach, because it's part of LA, but feels like its own little kind of vacation destination.
What's the one? Okay, Manhattan, and then there's Redondo, Hermosa.
Manhattan, Hermosa, Redondo.
Redondo is the one I like.
Yeah, Redondo's cool.
Like the most like rundown of them all.
Yeah.
It feels like old California.
Yeah.
There's like cool like steak places and stuff that haven't changed from like the 60s, and it's like $30 for everything, and it's like it felt so cool.
Yeah, Craig Conant lives out there.
That makes so much. Oh yeah, he moved out there.
He loves it. Yeah. He loves it. Yeah.
And it's cooler.
It is cool.
Like 10-15 degrees cooler.
Right.
Like I went from here, it was 90 to visit my friend, and it was 75 down there, and I'm like, oh, you guys don't even have a heat wave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting about the coast is it sort of stays kind of the same all year.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Would you move down there?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Then the stand up.
I moved. I'm pretty close to the beach now. But like the stand up is West Hollywood. You got to be. The drive from like Manhattan Beach is just a little too brutal.
It is. It can be brutal. From here, it took me an hour and 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. And like a bad traffic.
What is it, like 25 miles, 30?
Yeah.
It
can be insane.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I used to teach surf lessons in Manhattan Beach. And I would drive from WeHo, and that would be like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. So you actually do surf too?
Oh yeah.
It is like a real thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Do you skateboard?
I can like longboard and stuff. I used to skate as a kid, but I never really got that into it.
Yeah.
I like to cruise, but I never really
like carve.
Yeah, I can carve, but like like kickflips and stuff, I just never really. I was like trying to do kickflips. I'm like, this is too hard and stupid.
That was my thing. I was like, I was all into street skating.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And like little boxes and like.
What was your best trick?
360 flip.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can still do it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do your kids skate?
They do skate. Those are skates stacked there.
Oh, nice.
So we go out.
Do you take them to parks?
We just kind of flat landed over here.
Yeah.
I went to a park with them, and then I was like, oh yeah, the kids will have fun. And you don't realize it's all like 18 and plus, and they're just plowing over like my 6 and 9 year olds. I'm like, okay, they're not. So they watched me like drop in and do a couple things, and then we left.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I do. Then they saw their dad fall one time, and they're like, oh. And then I really hurt my elbow, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Like I tried to frontside 180 kickflip, and I just caught the board weird, and it went gone. And
on your elbow?
Right on the elbow, and I was like,
oh. Yeah, it's brutal.
And luckily, I never broke anything skating. So
nice.
I don't want to be like that guy doing it now. Like my friend broke his ribs rollerblading
really?
at this age, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I was skating this bowl near where I live during the, like peak COVID.
Yeah.
I would just go to the skate park during the day and just like I was just skating this bowl. It was super fun.
Like just doing
I was just going up and down.
Yeah.
I can't really. I can hit the lip, but I can't really do much more than that. Yeah,
I wasn't much. I didn't have a lot of ramps growing up, but I can do like the rock and roll, the tail stall, and I can like 50-50, and that's about as far as I can.
Yeah, 50-50 is fun.
Yeah. When you do a 50-50, you really feel like I can skate.
Yeah. You're like gliding on the rail. You're like, wow.
And then you drop back in.
Oh,
this is nothing.
Yeah.
That's the thing about skating and stand up. Are very similar.
Right.
It's like you just practice by yourself. Mm-hmm. It seems kind of homeless also.
Yeah.
And then you do this amazing thing, and it's kind of for you, but also for everyone else.
Right. Yeah. Surfing too. It's very similar. Where it's just like you kind of just got to keep going out there, and you like with skating or stand up, it's like bombing is sort of like you just
falling.
You eat shit. Yeah. Just keep eating shit. But
bombing is bailing.
Yeah. But then you just keep at it, and then you like land the trick or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's I love the pursuit of that. It's so rewarding.
I like I'm a snowboarder, skateboarder.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like the water.
Right.
I think it's a big part of surfing.
I can understand that. Yeah.
It's like you're just in the water all the time, and like
well, California is cold, it's not like Hawaii is like it's like you're getting into a bath.
Yeah. I've never been to Hawaii, so maybe I should try surfing in Hawaii.
I think you'd enjoy it. Yeah.
I went kiteboarding one time, and it was like a lot of work, just like a kite, and it's like you're flying, and it's like I'm like, this is too much.
I heard you have to really understand the wind too.
Yeah, and you're carrying a knife to like cut the.
Oh, really?
In case because the kite can take you away. Yeah. So you have to have this knife to like cut the rope in case it goes wrong.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Man, and so were they like teaching how to read the wind and stuff?
I mean, they're teaching you how to get the kite up, and then you're trying to balance on the board. Yeah. I mean, I was doing it in a place that didn't have a ton of wind at the time, so it wasn't like.
Were you able to do it?
Yeah, I did a little bit. I did it like once or twice as an attempt, and I'm like, this is just a lot of work. My roommate at the time was like super into it. Yeah. So I'd go with him, and I'm like, I mean. I'm like, this is just too much.
I've always wanted to try it, but that's sort of what held me up is like all the equipment, and like it just seems like
like do it with someone who loves it, and like will let you borrow the equipment or rent it one time and just see. But like the people who get into it, I just imagine being carried away and being like, all right, well, this is it.
Yeah. Has your buddy had to cut it?
I should check in with him. Maybe he's dead, but
yeah. That's so crazy where you're just flying up. You're like, oh fuck, and you like cut it. What if you just fly up too high? What do you do?
I don't know.
Do you just wait for it to take you back down?
I'm sure there's videos of people being like taken to like extreme heights.
Oh,
it seems like just a guy who had two bad ideas and put them together.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, or like, do you see those guys in Malibu that are like on a seat in some sort of kite, and they're doing this?
I haven't seen that. Maybe I have.
Like if you drive down PCH, you'll always see a guy in the sky with a seat, and he's like pulling 2 strings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's almost gonna hit the cars and stuff. It's insane.
Yeah. Oh, he's on the road.
No, but like near the road. He's just up there.
Yeah. Oh, the paragliders.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, paragliding. Yeah. I like ski in Sun Valley a lot, and people paraglide off the mountain there. Which my dad's a doctor, so he's just like, that's so stupid.
Yeah,
because they are like the way they get down is they like bank it and then they just spiral down.
Yeah, they just hope for the best, basically.
Yeah. Just gliding.
Yeah, there's certain things that jumping out of a plane. I'm just like, the risk reward is I'm sure it's slim that your parachute's not going to open, but like. Imagine if that's your last moment. Like, oh, well, I knew, or you'd be like, I knew it.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah. That and, what was it? Oh, hang gliding. I've seen people like hang glide in, San Diego, which that's pretty unreal to see in person, I think.
Yeah.
Cause it's just like such a big thing. Like you got these wings and you're just like jumping off a cliff.
Or it just turns upside down.
Yeah.
Hang gliding is not too far from like the squirrel guy. Like the squirrel suit.
Oh, those guys are insane. That's crazy.
Like just it feels like a video game. Just a guy running off a building into a squirrel suit and taking off.
Yeah.
Do you feel like so getting back to like the Instagram and stuff, do you feel that like you're in a good sweet spot of fame, so to speak? Because like you probably can go along with your life, but you have like a real fans and community.
Yeah, I think we have a great sort of an amazing kind of community. Whenever we meet people who are fans of ours at like shows and stuff, they're always just like the sweetest people, and it's and yeah, we've been able to do shows. You know, I think we're definitely gonna go out to the rest of the country and do shows, and that's sort of that. It's sort of like that's the dream. So. I'm really happy with where we're at, but I always do want to just keep progressing as well. Just keep building, but I'm very happy with where we're at too.
That's awesome. I recently met Strider for the first time, and as like it completed the trio of you, JT, and Strider. Of just like 3 cool dudes.
Strider's the best. Yeah. He and I watched an Alien movie yesterday. We just made popcorn.
Which one?
Fire in the Sky. Have you seen that?
I thought you meant an alien, like Alien 1 or Alien 2. Or...
Oh, no. Those are good movies, though.
Yeah.
It was an alien abduction movie.
Okay.
Because he has a podcast, History is Dank, and we're doing an alien abduction story.
Nice. Yeah. There's nothing better than watching a movie with friends.
Yeah.
Like, because it doesn't happen. Like, when do your friends come over to watch a movie?
I know.
Almost never.
I was so excited. I made popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got red vines.
Hell yeah. You made like a little movie theater.
Yeah. His dog came. It was fun. Yeah.
Have you been to Tarantino's theater, the New Beverly?
No, but I passed by it last night. I really want to go.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Like a midnight screening. I saw Inglourious Bastards last week. Oh, this is great. It's just like they have all the old school candy.
Really?
And the theater, it's on real film. So like the projector's going and it's like kind of grainy.
Oh,
it's super cool. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Maybe I'll.
It's one of the great things you can do in LA.
Yeah.
Oh,
I gotta do that.
Grab the crew and go.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this has been super cool.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you coming out and talking about yourself. And
thanks, man.
I'd like to end on one thing, which is I find curious, is that like you have yourself and you have a kind of a characterized version of, or maybe like a heightened version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find yourself doing the wrong one at the wrong time, or like slipping in and out of it?
Honestly, they've kind of merged together. So I think I don't really.
You're in the Matrix. You don't know.
Yeah. I've been like going on dates and stuff, and they're like, I don't know. They're like. It's like hard to differ just because some of like the dates have told, they're like I don't really know I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really know either. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I mean it's also similar that I guess it's just sort of how,
like, do you ever exit yourself and be like, and you start observing like what's happening?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I think it's I guess it's sort of however I'm feeling.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling like goofy, I'll be goofy. If feeling more serious, I'll be serious. But then if we're like, you know, shooting something or whatever,
you can kind of turn it on.
Yeah.
I guess in some ways, like it's similar to being like a music artist. It's like you're heightened and you're shooting a music video.
Yeah.
You got to bring it.
Right. Yeah.
So there's certain times you bring it and certain times you just chill, but it's all you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah. I'm trying to understand it too. So maybe we can
get it together.
On the next episode, we can dissect that.
Yeah. Because when you did the nightcap show, I noticed there was a moment in your set when you got silly and we're kind of laughing at the silliness of not just the joke, but of the whole situation.
Yeah, I do. It's funny when you say when people say we don't break a lot, because I do giggle all the time. So yeah.
On stage, but not, I haven't seen, not in an interview.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Like on like these, I mean, some of the biggest interview shows that exist.
Yeah.
You guys are stone cold killers, not breaking at all.
Yeah.
So
thanks, man.
Well, tell the people where to find you. Tell us what your podcast is and all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
If they don't know, I mean, how could you not?
I appreciate it. Chad Goes Deep on Instagram. Chad and JT Go Deep on YouTube. Going Deep with Chad and JT is our podcast. And JT's JT Part 14 on Instagram. And then
this is how good a guy. He's plugging his friend. You're the first guest to do that.
Strider Shreds All Day. That's Strider.
Strider Shreds All Day.
That's his Instagram.
I would love to have Strider on and JT, so I'll reach out.
Yeah, they're good guys.
All right, well, thanks again, Chad, and we'll see you soon.
Cool.
Bye.